Thought Bubble Audio.
Look, up in the sky!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
Name the dog, Indiana.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in paints?
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beer. I'm Tim, and with me, as always, is my fantastic friend Frank. How are you today?
You just said it yourself. I'm fantastic.
That's good. I'm glad to hear it. That was a lot of alliteration. I'm not going to be able to keep that up this whole episode, but I hope you will. Continue. Go ahead.
I'll do my best.
You've already failed.
Best to be the boy that
Beat alliteration.
Be the boy to beat.
Okay. That doesn't sound like a great goal, actually.
And because of this bombasticism, I will bellow about my beer.
Wow, that was really good. It's almost like you're reading a Marvel comic from the 60s, Frank. Like, really.
The Merry Marvel Marching Society owner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. What beer
I
are
am
you
drinking a beer. It is a Newcastle Brown Ale.
Ooh, great
Yes,
choice.
okay.
I've been to Newcastle, Frank.
Have
as
you
we
now?
talked about a couple of episodes ago on our Infinity War
Oh,
podcast,
that's right.
to which
That's right.
I was in Newcastle, and then I took a train to Edinburgh, and then found out they were filming the Avengers while I was there.
So is the ale browner in Newcastle, or is that just a myth?
I unfortunately was not there long enough to have a beer. I
What good are you?
got off a plane and got on a train. Like that was it. So didn't have a beer, unfortunately. I am fortunately having one now, Frank. Just so you know, I'm having a Peak Brewing Company's Fresh Cut, which is a dry hopped Pilsner.
Yes.
It is very good. It is.
It is good. It is a very good
Delightful.
one. Yes. Peak Organic.
I like the name Peak Organic. It's a
Yeah,
good
I do
beer.
too.
Yeah, there's something about it just fills me with vigor. It's fantastic, really. It's utterly fantastic. I could have four. of them, Frank.
Fantastic, you say?
I could have four easily, no question.
Four?
Potentially more.
Fantastic Four and maybe more.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a fantasy. That
Oh.
just sounds like a fantasy. A fantastic.
an amazing fantasy, Frank. Perhaps
you might
15.
say.
Amazing Fantasy 15. Anyway,
Maybe.
we're just beating around the bush here. Frank.
Can we tell the people what we want to do today?
Yes, I want to continue drinking this beer while Frank tells me a story set in an imaginary universe where he has chosen some people to play other people, one would say, where they are just people. Frank, as of what recording this episode, we have discovered that Comcast has put in a bid to buy Fox, which means that our dreams of a completed MCU might not come to fruition. And
Because Comcast doesn't want us to have nice things, people. They want you to suffer. They want you to suffer and toil. If you're listening to this and you work for Comcast, I'm sorry, but you work for the devil. That's just the way it works. They hate humanity. They hate everything.
somebody has just paid his Comcast bill, it seems. So
I've
anyway.
paid way too many Comcast bills. I've paid way more money than anything they could ever possibly repay me. I honestly hate this company with a fiery passion of a million suns. I wish Thanos would snap his fingers and wipe out Comcast. Not the people, just the company.
Just the
The company itself. Just wipe it out of existence.
And
That'd be great.
allocate those people to other well-paying jobs.
Yes,
So
give them other jobs that are at companies better than Comcast, which really is not hard to do. Anyway, they just want us to have no fun and also to take away net neutrality. But that's a story for a different day. We are here to talk about a particular subset of what could be the Marvel Cinematic Universe, if Comcast didn't suck. And that would be the Fantastic Four.
That is correct, Frank.
Fantastic Four.
Yes,
And
Marvel's first family.
Marvel's first family, the Fantastic Four, the first family, Fantastic Four. I'm still going with the alliteration. And we want to do something we've done before, which is fantasy casting. And since this is the Fantastic Four, I think we should call this the Fantastic Four Fantasy Football.
Okay, even though we're not going to play football at all.
Yeah, but it's like fantasy. It's just its thing.
It's more alliteration. You were just going for more alliteration
Correct.
with the Fantastic Four fantasy football.
Yeah.
Frank.
Yes, sir.
We are going to cast 10 characters from the Fantastic Four. 4 of them being the Fantastic Four themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest, the other 6, we will leave as a mystery. So, for those of you who are not aware, the Fantastic Four first premiered in 1961 as a comic book in Fantastic Four #1, written by Stan Lee and drawn by Jack Kirby. We created these characters together to spring and launch the Marvel universe, the Marvel Comics universe as we know it today. It was a game-changing comic, and nothing like it had ever existed before. And people have kind of forgotten about the Fantastic Four, mostly because there have been 3 terrible movies. 4, if you count the one made in the 90s that was never released. And so the Fantastic Four have fallen out of favor. However, Frank loves them, and I love them. And we think it would be fun for them to rejoin the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or join for the first time, to join the Marvel family, since they are Marvel's first family. So we are going to fan cast them. Now, here we go. Frank, do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
You go first.
Okay.
You go first. I want you
Now,
to kick this off.
Okay, so we're going to kick off with Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic himself. This is the only one where I have 2 choices, and the rest of them I only have 1.
Who were you, me?
Yeah, I know, right? my first like what I tried to avoid ones that the internet is like, make this person this person.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like I don't want to just say things that other people have said,
Yeah.
but a lot of people have said, make John Krasinski Reed Richards.
Yes,
and
I
think
he said he would do it too.
he would be so good.
He would.
He fits the Marvel mold so well, like the MCU mold.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
original, there are a lot of variations of Mr. Fantastic of Reed Richards. There's like the really brainy nerd and the recluse and like all these ones. But original Reed Richards is like scientist Indiana Jones. He's Indiana Jones who goes to space instead of to Egypt, like to dig out a pyramid. Like that's the Reed Richards I want to see on screen. I've seen 2 versions of the nerdy Reed Richards. It doesn't work. Reed Richards is the leader of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
And so he needs to present himself that way as the leader. I think John Krasinski could do it, especially after seeing A Quiet Place. Like I saw, you see a lot of muscle stretching on his part. Mr. Fantastic muscle stretching. That's funny. Didn't mean to do that.
Hey, yo.
However, that's what people are saying. My pick, slightly controversial, Colin Farrell.
Oh, he's okay. Interesting. The first reaction I have to that is he's a little older than I would have chosen for Mr. Fantastic.
He's 41.
But a bit older than I would have chosen for like, if it's like an origin movie, like a bit older than I would have chosen for that. Not knocking it. In fact, there'll be some picks later on that you'll probably say that about mine, where you're like, he's a little old for that, or she's a little old for that. But interesting. He definitely has the like dexterity as an actor to do that.
Mm-hmm. I thought that Colin Farrell's underappreciated. He has an enormous range, and he can be the quiet recluse. He can be the action star. He can be almost anything you need him to be on screen.
Yeah, I mean, just watch Daredevil, right?
Oh, yes, I agree. So hard. No, that's so bad. I know that's not the answer you were looking for. I'm just kidding. But really, if you look at a number of his films, even little things like, I mean, this isn't Reed Richards type, but in the Mary Poppins movie, Saving Mr. Banks. He's excellent in that.
Yeah.
The Lobster is a weird movie, but he's excellent in that. Even Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, In Bruges. He's really all over the place, and I think you could channel that. And he kind of looks the part, like especially him now. And I thought that he was okay as a choice, even being a little bit older, because Downey Jr. was a little bit older to play Tony Stark. You know, the man is nearing 60, and he is still playing this character. So I think it's an okay choice. What do you think of what's yours?
I think mine is a different direction. My Mr. Fantastic is John Boyega.
Whoa, way different direction.
Way different direction.
He's so young. I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah, but he's not like Miles Teller young. You know, he's got a bit more gravitas than he doesn't project like I'm in high school young. He projects like I'm a young adult young. Which is sort of like that's what I would expect. I would expect someone in their like mid late 20s, maybe early 30s to like that's when I would sort of like to see that happen for him. So that's where my head is at. And I think John Boyega brings he's not the total nerd like a Miles Teller had been. He's a little bit more of like he's got a little more swagger, he's a little more adult, frankly, and has more of a personality than a Miles Teller, because Miles Teller is like the Comcast of actors. But
that's so true. I don't like Miles Teller at all.
I don't like him at all. I think I've said it before on this show. I think that he would be a fresh, interesting, different take.
Wow. I went for comic book type, and you went for totally different and out there.
I went for more of like the action hero type.
I love it. Yeah. This is
not quite the Indiana Jones scientist like you were saying, but a bit more of the action hero type.
Odd. He is short to play Reed Richards. He's not super tall.
That could be fixed.
Boxes and stuff.
Yeah, whatever.
But good choice.
Tom Cruise is short too.
That's a good point. Invisible Woman, Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Ooh, I like her a lot. She's really good.
Me too. Also underrated. And
yes.
I think, given how many colors of hair she has in Scott Pilgrim, I think she could probably be blonde.
Oh, yeah. She could pull it off.
I think, but Mary Elizabeth Winstead exudes warmth, I think. And I think Sue Richards needs to have that quality about her. You know, you need to feel comfortable in her presence. That's whereas Reed can be stoic because he's kind of trapped in his head. Sue is the antithesis to that, and she is the welcoming, like, come tell me anything kind of person. And I think Mary Elizabeth Winstead can do that, but also be the action heroine when she needs to be.
Sure.
As the most powerful member of the Fantastic Four, I think she could pull that off.
I think so. She's a good pick. I like that.
What say you for yours? Question before you say that. Why are you looking in the middle of your beer bottle?
Just because I just like the way the light is hitting it right now.
Oh, okay. It's not distracting. I'm just curious as to what's happening while we're chatting.
I was just the light caught it in an interesting way, and I was like, "Oh, look at that! That's cool."
Wow.
Sorry that I'm a nerd. So my pick for Sue Richards. Again, different direction than yours. So like keep it in mind. Letitia Wright, who's been playing Shuri in Black Panther.
Oh, see, I avoided people in the MCU because if they were joining the MCU, then that doesn't work.
I didn't. I'm not thinking of it as like strictly as an MCU film. I'm just thinking of like who would be in a vacuum, who would be the best people I would want in this film. So
that changes the rules.
I guess
completely.
I'm playing in slightly different. Yeah, so we didn't really confer on that part. I didn't realize that was the
that's okay. It doesn't matter.
Point. But it's
she's
fine.
a great. She's very good. Did you know she and John Boyega are friends? I
did not know that actually.
They were in acting school together.
I had no idea.
I just saw a post of them at the Met Gala, And
Oh.
and he said and in the post he said we used to get McDonald's after acting class and talk about the future, and here we both are now at the Met Gala.
That's so awesome.
I know. It's cool. It's really cool. So that's actually very accidental on your part, but very cool that you went in that direction. So why did you choose her?
I think that Sue Storm should have. I always call her Sue Storm, not Sue Richards. I feel like she should have a fun, loving aspect to her. She should where Reed is the brains. I think she should be the heart and sort of the laughter in the group. And I mean Johnny brings plenty of that too. But I think that she should be sort of his other half as Reed's other half. She should bring a little levity, and while being his equal, and being his like full partner. I think it's important she brings different aspects to the group than he does. So I feel like she's done she does a really great job of playing smart. Obviously, and being funny and having a little sass, and the idea of balancing out someone like a Reed Richards who is, like you said, a little bit more stoic, the scientist. I think it's important to have that other half as well, while being his, almost his equal in terms of the science. So that's my reasoning.
That's good. I like it. I like that reasoning. The Human Torch, I went with Ansel Elgort.
I almost picked him.
Oh, cool.
I very nearly picked him.
Cool.
And then I changed it like almost at the last minute.
That's cool. I had a hard time choosing the Human Torch, actually, because there are a lot of good actors in their 20s that I think that probably could do it, but he is a lead. I feel like having a cast that has almost lead power in themselves is important, that they don't feel like they shrink within themselves, like they don't need each other to survive. They can survive on their own, and he's got quite a range on him, which I think is important for Johnny Storm, that it's not just the, hey, I'm fun-loving and don't care about stuff. And I think that for the audience to connect with Johnny, he needs to have a subtext, and I think Ansel Elgort does subtext really well. So what's your pick?
Well, you're not, so sorry, MCU bells are going to go off again here, but Tom Holland.
Yeah, okay. He's a little, I don't know if I can really see him in that role, actually.
Okay.
I walk me through it. Why Tom Holland?
I feel like the Human Torch, Johnny Storm, is he's definitely the comic relief of the group. He's the younger brother. If you watch the Josh Trank Fantastic Four stick, then he's not the comic relief. But that's sort of the role that I've thought of him in, and not necessarily like Chris Evans was, where he was sort of kind of douchey. But I just think sort of like he should be kind of Spider-Man like. In his sense of humor, in his quipping, in his overall attitude and demeanor. So I feel like, because of the similarities that I see, not in these characters in general, but in some personality traits, I think that Tom Holland has that in him.
Okay, I can see that. It's funny now that you say that. I can see it, but know what Spider-Man would have made a better Human Torch is Andrew Garfield. Probably would have been a really good Human Torch back in the day. Not now; he's too old for it now.
Yeah, but you're right. A few years ago,
his version of Spider-Man, that real sassy, almost kind of pricky Spider-Man, like that.
Yeah, a little. Yeah, it was a little more bite to him than there is Tom Holland.
Yeah, he might have been a good Human Torch.
Yeah, that's true. I would buy that.
Okay. The Thing. I love my pick for this. Are you ready?
Okay, yeah.
And I have a few reasons why, and I'll tell you. John Hamm.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
All right.
I feel like he's like too good looking to turn him into a rock monster.
Exactly.
So please tell me.
Exactly. That's one of my reasons, because everyone's
Okay.
like, cast John Hamm as literally any character, and to me it's hilarious to cast John Hamm as somebody who you wouldn't see. Like,
That's okay. I will give you that. That's pretty good.
But
That's pretty.
it's pretty good, right? Okay.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of other reasons. One, John Hamm has an incredible range. Like he can be silly and fun-loving. He can be dangerous. He can be anything. But Ben Grimm, like Sue Storm, has to exude warmth and comfortability, even though he's a giant rock monster. You have to feel comfortable to go up and appreciate him. And part of the reason that Ben is so upset about being the Thing is that he looks terrible, and that he was a regular looking person before. So if you looked like John Hamm and then you became a rock monster, you would be upset. In a weird way, it's kind of like Doctor Doom being like really handsome and then being disfigured. It has that kind of, they're kind of paralleled that way. But I think John Hamm exudes fun, and Ben Grimm to me really needs to bring that to the table for an audience to connect with him. I almost cast Christopher Maloney because I think he can do the same thing.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, because I think he can do the same thing. But everyone wants John Hamm to play a superhero thing, like edged him in just because I think it would be hilarious for him not to be like a completely mocapped character. I think he would also think that was funny. Like, he'd be
I
like,
think
I don't
you're
want to
right.
be a superhero, but I'll be mocap because that's funny to me.
I think you're very right about that he totally would. Yes, he would completely be on board with that for that reason alone. That's great. That's a really, really good call. I love that.
Okay, so what's yours?
My Ben Grimm, Alan Tudyk.
Oh, I love Alan Tudyk. That's a really interesting choice.
Yeah. Obviously doesn't have the physique for it exactly. Like, it's not as.
So, I mean, technically, Mark Ruffalo doesn't have the physique to be the Hulk.
Sure. But I guess what I'm saying is it's not as, clear cut as what's his name? The guy who played him in the first Fantastic Four iteration.
Jamie Campbell. Is it Jamie Campbell?
No.
Michael Chiklis.
Chiklis. I was like something with a CH. Chiklis. Yeah. He doesn't, Chiklis kind of like, he looks like he's like a better looking version of the Thing. I
know what you mean.
He's got like the shape of his head and everything is like, I could see that.
Right, exactly.
He's a bald guy and everything. But Tudyk, you're like, he's a skinny guy. But that doesn't fit at all. But his physicality and his delivery, his deadpan, I think are all things that fit. We know he can do mocap really well because of Rogue One and iRobot. So yeah, to me those are things that qualify him for that.
That's a very interesting choice. I love Alan Tudyk. All right, let's move on to the Fantastic Four supporting cast. Some of them are villains, some of them are not. We'll start with a not. Alicia Masters, girlfriend of the Thing.
Yes. Do you want to do her and
her father,
and Puppet Master, together?
Sure. So I put so when I was making this list, I put Alicia Masters, who is when she's a blind. For people who don't know, Alicia Masters is a blind sculptor, and so when she comes across Ben Grimm, the Thing, in his rock form, they fall for one another, but she cannot base how she falls for him on what he looks like because she can't see him, and so she falls for him as the person that he just is, and that's what really attracts Ben to her. And so I thought I needed somebody for Alicia that was kind of around the same age as John Hamm. I thought it was important that they be contemporaries of one another in some sense, but then also somebody that, like Sue or Ben himself, exuded some kind of warmth and energy, and somebody an expert actress who could pretend to be blind and be believable. So I chose Rachel Weisz.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
She's an excellent actress. Like really, really top notch. And I think that Alicia is a can be a very strong character. She doesn't have to be a sideline character. And I think, especially if you include the puppet master, her father, in it, I just got that her last name's Masters and her father's name is the puppet master.
Puppet master. Yeah, I just realized that too. That's like 2 minutes ago.
Yep, that's okay. And so anyway, along with that, I was like, okay, so who could be her father? Somebody who. The puppet master is a silly villain. He like makes sculptures and can control people with them, like a voodoo doll almost. So I thought, all right, well that's silly. But if you get somebody to move past the silly to make silly believable, then it works. And so I went with master actor Mark Rylance.
Oh, he's really good.
He's
really good.
So good.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. He's like the right age to be her father and everything. That's good.
Yep.
He's really good.
And he could play, I think he could play a really quiet, evil man. But one that is also can successful fool his daughter into thinking that he's not that. He could play that double-sided nature. So those are my pick for the Masters. What's yours?
All right. So I, again, a little bit of a different direction, but I think I feel pretty good about this. For Alicia Masters, I went with Gina Rodriguez from Jane the Virgin.
Yeah, she's a great actress.
Great actress. I think she would bring a bubbliness that so far I don't really have. I mean, Letitia Wright brings a bubbliness, but it's a different kind of bubbly that I think would be necessary, especially if you put her alongside Alan Tudyk as the Thing, and presumably he's funny, but presumably Ben Grimm is feeling bad about the whole I'm a rock monstrosity thing. I think she has a sweetness and a heart that could make a rock monster feel loved. And I just think she's a great actress. Thanks. I have as her father, and this one is a little bit tough to digest as a villain, but Jimmy Smits.
Oh, I love Jimmy Smits. I think he could do anything he wants to. So.
I think he can too. I've never really seen him as a bad guy per se.
But sometimes that makes a good bad guy.
That's what I think, and especially if the idea is that he's supposed to convince his daughter that he's not.
Mm-hmm.
Who better than somebody who you're sort of like, but he's kind of always a good. He's really
just
good guy.
Jimmy Smits. I want to give him a hug. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he would be really like he's. It would be a really cool thing to see him take that on. That sort of like, I'm bad, but I'm pretending to be good. Like, because there's a paternal side of him that we've seen before that he would need to exude, but then there's also the whole, villain thing and the whole voodoo thing. And I think that he's got just enough gravitas, maybe not on a Mark Rylance level, but he's just enough of a serious actor that he could sell it.
That's cool. That's a cool choice. Let's go to a character that people love to see get right on the big screen, Dr. Doom, the consummate Fantastic Four villain. My choice, Luke Evans.
Oh, very good. Very good.
For people who don't know Luke Evans, he played Gaston in Beauty and the Beast, the live action one. Dracula Untold. He played Bard in the Hobbit films. Luke Evans is an incredible actor and does not get the credit that he deserves for almost any film that he's in. He's always, for whatever reason, like not the focus. He's almost in some I'm trying to think of another person that is kind of like, but I can't right now. But I think he's great, and I think that he could really bring real gravitas to Dr. Doom and get it right, but not overact the heck out of it. And I think because Dr. Doom's face is covered the whole time because he's in a suit of armor, I think you need a good eye acting, as I like to call it.
Yeah.
And I think that he could really do it. That's my That's my pick. Bloody Luke Evans.
Nice.
What a great guy.
Solid pick. Solid pick.
What's yours?
So I went with tell me if you might not know this actor, Vincent Castle.
I know that. Yeah. He's got big kind of curly hair.
Yeah, he's a French actor. He was in Black Swan.
I think it's Cassile. I don't know if it's Castle.
Maybe it's Cassile. Yeah, I'm not sure. It's French, so I apologize if I'm mispronouncing it. But he's from Black Swan. He was in Ocean's 12 or 13.
I think he's in 12.
Okay. So yeah, he is in particular in Black Swan. He has a bite and a subtlety where he's just like, you just hate him.
That's
and
so true.
He's like the Comcast of characters, and he he is.
I love that it's a running gag now. It's my favorite part. Please continue.
And he, I think, will bring a subtlety to Doctor Doom that we definitely didn't have in the Josh Trank Fantastic Four, where he was sort of like, if you put the worst parts of Kylo Ren and Anakin together, that would give you that Doctor Doom.
Yes,
but with less purpose, and more. I'm from Latveria, and now I'm gonna go through the portal. A little bit. That's kind of it. It's kind of it. It's kind of all there is to him. So, yeah, I since that version of Doctor Doom was truly the Comcast of characters, I feel like bringing the actor who portrayed the Comcast of humans in would be a perfect fit. No, but really, I think he would bring a subtlety to a subtle evil that's like almost like a Bond villain, but not in the bad way, in the like so evil you love to hate them way.
Right.
I think he would be really good for. I would love to see him play that character.
That's a really good choice. I would not have ever thought of him, but like solid choice. I love it. He's a great actor. Okay, 3 left.
Okay.
Silver Surfer, the Herald of Galactus, so I think we all know who's coming next. Actually, let's just do Silver Surfer and Galactus together. How about we do that?
Sure.
The Silver Surfer, my choice is Dan Stevens.
Dan Stevens.
Dan Stevens played the Beast in the live-action Beauty and the Beast. He stars on Legion on FX, and he played Matthew in Downton Abbey, and he's been in a bunch of other stuff. He is actually rumored to be attached to the Doctor Doom film that Fox is trying to churn out right now because the creator of Legion is writing it or something like that.
Oh, got it.
And so he was almost my choice for Doctor Doom, but I think he's got a bit of a range, and he's very likable when he's on screen, kind of no matter what he's doing. Like, and we know, and he has experience playing CG characters because he played Beast. And so I think, like the importance of Doctor Doom in eye acting, I think physicality and makes a huge difference with the Silver Surfer. That's why Doug Jones played him in Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
Right. So he at least played his body because Lawrence Fishburne did the voice.
I have things to say about that when it gets to be my turn.
Okay.
It's funny that you brought that up.
Okay.
You go ahead.
All right. So Dan Stevens should be bigger than he is, kind of like Luke Evans or anything like that. And I think Silver Surfer would be really good for him. On top of that, he is the herald for Galactus, who will not be a giant space cloud in my film, but actually the giant Galactus that he is. My choice, because you're really probably only gonna see his chin. You need somebody with a good chin, but be somebody who could deliver something out to you, that like somebody that like, yes, I'm 150 feet tall and you can all deal with it and I'm gonna make it believable. My choice is Sam Neill.
Oh, good chin.
Yeah, good chin, right?
Good chin.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think because Galactus doesn't look like he's 30 years old. He looks middle-aged or like beyond middle-aged at this point.
Yep.
And I think that I kind of thought of Sam Neill as Merlin when he was in that, and like he has a lot of that same kind of presence and power, and I think that he would do well as Galactus. That's my choice. What are your choices?
So, when I was sitting down I thought about Silver Surfer, and I thought, well, again, here's this sort of a mocap character, right? Most likely. And I think of the Silver Surfer as being sort of like tall and lanky. And here I am sitting here, and I'm like, I feel like Doug Jones would be really good for Silver Surfer.
Yeah, you're right. He would be.
Yeah, and it turns out he did that already.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he did.
As I was doing some Googling, I was like, oh, damn it. That's why that seems like such a good idea.
Because somebody already had it.
Because somebody already did it. So I was like, okay, never mind. I take it back. The other, so my real pick then is I did a one person for the body, one person for the voice, kind of like they did in Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Sure.
For the body, Eunice Suetamo, who is the new Chewbacca.
Oh, okay, great idea.
He's the guy who does Chewbacca now. Yeah, tall, lanky, very tall, and is good at like physical acting. You know, he takes direction well when it comes to like physicality, which I think is important for a role like this because he's acting with his body.
That's right.
So much. And for the voice, I thought Michael Dorn.
Michael Dorn, remind me of who that is.
Worf on Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Sure. Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah, really good booming voice and really good. You know, like I've always loved his voice. I love him just as an actor all around. But I think his voice is one of his best assets.
That's why I've never really pictured, even when I was a kid, the Silver Surfer with a booming voice. It didn't seem like that went together for me.
Interesting.
And same with like when Lawrence Fishburne played him in the film, I was like, I feel like Doug Jones would just be a better Silver Surfer on his own. I've always imagined Silver Surfer more like Dr. Manhattan, so like more like Billy Crudup, like that version, like kind of light and airy and almost like emotionally removed,
wistful.
Yeah, and so actually Billy Crudup would be a great Silver Surfer.
He would actually.
Yeah, now that I think about it. But anyway, so that's an interesting choice. Michael Dorn's got a great voice. Really great voice. But what's your Galactus pick?
Galactus pick. This is definitely off the beaten path. And I didn't think of it quite the same way you thought of Sam. Like the chin and the age stuff, I hadn't really thought of it in the same way. For this, I really went with an actor who I really like, who I think plays villains very well, and that is Mahershala Ali.
Oh, he's so good.
So
Ali
good.
Is so good. He played
good.
Cottonmouth in Luke Cage. He was in
House of Cards.
House of Cards. He was a good guy. He was a nice person in Hidden Figures.
Yes.
And arguably a good person in Moonlight. He was a drug dealer, but he took in the kid, or he
won an Oscar for that.
Yeah, he was really good in it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what a good choice. Great choice. I love it.
Yeah, I really, really like him. Since House of Cards, I've really been like captivated by him. And then when he was in Luke Cage, I really, really like he got so much screen time in Luke Cage that I was like, this guy is just amazing. Like this guy really deserves to like win all kinds of awards. And then like 6 months later, he won an Oscar. So
right, there you go.
Yeah, works out.
Yeah, great choice. Awesome choice. Okay, so.
Thanks.
Our last one, number 10. I think it's important for people to know that the Fantastic Four is not always with the Human Torch. Sometimes they have a lovable robot sidekick named Herbie, not the car, and
beep, beep.
Exactly. And so I thought, okay, it's almost like the Jarvis in its own, like the next stage Jarvis of the Fantastic Four. Even though Herbie's been around, was decades around before Computer Jarvis. So I thought, okay, so what's an offbeat choice who could just be the best voice in the world? And I landed on nobody other than Allison Janney as the voice of Herbie.
Oh, that's a really good choice.
Yeah, because who doesn't love Allison? Allison Janney's the best, and she'd be like the most fun robot in the entire world. Yep, that is my choice. That's my choice for Herbie. For people, Herbie exists because there was a cartoon in the 60s or 70s, the Fantastic Four cartoon in the 60s 70s, that the studio didn't want the Human Torch to be there involved because they thought kids would try to set themselves on fire if they saw somebody with fire powers and being okay. So they replaced the Human Torch with Herbie the robot. And that's where he comes from. But I'm going with Allison Janney as the voice of Herbie. What is your choice?
So my choice is something that's like been on my mind lately. I've been watching and podcasting about Krypton, and I really like Blake Ritson, who plays Brainiac on that show.
Oh, okay.
I think he's a really, really gifted actor, and I think that he would actually be really cool to lend his voice to that character.
Cool. I like it.
Just
it very
purely,
much.
I like the guy's voice, and he's a great actor.
Cool. I think that's great. Now I have 3 characters that I'm going to do really fast because I did them, but you didn't.
Honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions for 3 characters: Mole Man, Annihilus, and Super Skrull, because we're probably not going to do it on their fan cast, so we might as well include the big ones. Mole Man is the first character the Fantastic Four ever fought in Fantastic Four #1. He's on the cover, or at least one of the creatures is on the cover. And as you pointed out before we started recording, that is why in the end of the first Incredibles film, like the mole people pop up. That is a homage to Fantastic Four #1.
The Undertaker.
Exactly, because the Incredibles is nothing really but the Fantastic Four in a different setting. So my choice for Mole Man is Walter Goggins. Do you know who Walter Goggins is?
Oh, I do know who that is, actually, yes.
Yeah, he's a really interesting actor, and he's got really like big, expressive eyes. And I thought that would be fun for Mole Man. I think he could play it with a wink and a nod, but still be menacing when he needed to be. And then Annihilus, who is the kind of ruler of the negative zone, which in some versions of the Fantastic Four is where the Fantastic Four get their powers from. There's an experiment in the negative zone, and my choice for Annihilus is Cillian Murphy, who played Scarecrow in the Dark Knight trilogy. He can be a very, very scary person, and actually wasn't really thinking about Scarecrow when I cast him in that. I actually thought
obviously you were thinking about his role in Tron Legacy, right? That's what you were thinking
I
of.
forgot he was in Tron Legacy. I actually thought about the movie Red Eye with
I've never seen it,
with
but
Rachel McAdams.
Mm-hmm.
He's really creepy and terrifying in that film.
I believe it.
And I think that he could do a really good job. And the Super Skrull, which is a Skrull, which is an alien race, and the Super Skrull is one of the warrior alien Skrulls that has all the Fantastic Four's powers. And I I went for Taraji P. Henson.
So good.
Because
she's so fantastic.
She's fantastic, and she can do anything. I agree. And she can, especially on Empire, like, she can really exude dangerous, I think. But she also has this whole other range, and I thought instead of just like a smashy villain, she might do something really interesting with it. So those are my last choices.
That's good. That's really good.
Yeah. All right. So
solid.
Thank you. So that wraps up our Fantastic Four fantasy football cast. Whatever you decided to call it. You can find us on the internet at Beer with Geeks at Facebook, Gmail, and Twitter. You can also find us on Patreon at patreon.com/thoughtbubbleaudio. If you want to support us, you can head over to iTunes to give us a 5-star review. Beer with Geeks or all of our other Thought Bubble audio shows. You can also find Frank at DragonCon this year, hanging at the Stark Expo. Frank, why don't you explain that?
Yeah, well, we're going to be putting on a night of live podcasts for charity, benefiting generosity.org. They provide clean drinking water to people who don't have it in parts of the world where it's hard to get. They dig wells, all that kind of stuff. It's a cause that's near and dear to the heart of Brian Austin Green, the actor from 90210. He was David Silver, and he played Derek Reese on Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles, and he was also Metallo, John Corbett on Smallville. Really good actor. He's got his own podcast with my friend Derek. It's called With Brian Austin Green. They're going to do a live With Brian Austin Green episode in front of the audience at Switch Yards, September 1st during DragonCon in Atlanta. We're also going to be doing live Starkville's House of L, live Geek Out Loud, with Derek Russell, with Steve Glosson, with Graham Hancock, with live music from Dane Davenport and myself. I'll be there as well, not doing the music, doing the podcasting. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. We've already sold out our VIP tickets, but there are still tickets available. And again, if you want to, all the proceeds will go to generosity.org for a good cause. We're going to have a great time, have a lot of fun. We'll get to hang out and enjoy ourselves. And when you're not at the con, you can come in and hang out with us one night only. It's a one-time event, and it should be a blast. So head on over to starkexpolive.eventbrite.com to buy tickets and help out a good cause.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. Well, Frank, this has been super fun. I know that potentially Disney or potentially Comcast will own the X-Men. We could try for that another time. But since that series of films are still going on, it will be, a little harder.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. But anyway, I think this was fun. So until next time, cheers.